Right, good morning. We've got Second Chronicles 19 through 23. This is day 181 in the Blue Letter Bible app, Bible in a Year. Okay, geopolitical intrigue of around 700 BC. The southern kingdom, Judah, has got a bit of a revival going on, and the northern kingdom, the wheels are coming off. So that's where we're at. All right, so we got Second Chronicles 19, verse 1. Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, returned to his house in peace in Jerusalem. And Jehu, son of Hanani, the seer, went out to meet him and said to King Jehoshaphat, "Shouldest thou help the ungodly and love them that hate Jehovah? Therefore is wrath upon thee from Jehovah. Nevertheless, there are good things found in thee, that thou hast taken away the groves out of the land, and thou hast prepared the heart to seek God." And Jehoshaphat dwelt at Jerusalem, and he went out again through the people, through Beersheba and Mount Ephraim, and brought them back unto Jehovah, God of their fathers. And he set judges in the land throughout the fenced cities of Judah, city by city. And he said to the judges, "Take heed for what ye do, and for what ye judge, for a man, but for Jehovah, who is with you in judgment." All right, so he's setting forth judgments across the land. Therefore now let the fear of Jehovah be upon you. Okay, that's the beginning of wisdom of God, fear of Jehovah. It is an idiom in the Bible for keeping his commandments. Take heed and do it, for there is no iniquity in Jehovah our God, nor respect of persons, nor taking of gifts. Okay, no respect of persons. Okay, that's spoken of in Leviticus 19, verse 15. Really, this section here, he's putting forth a proclamation to love thy neighbor as thyself. Moreover, Jerusalem did Jehoshaphat set the Levites and the priests of the chief of the fathers of Israel for the judgment of Jehovah and for controversies when they returned to Jerusalem. And he charged them, saying, "Thus shall ye do in fear of Jehovah, faithfully and with a perfect heart." With that perfect heart. Okay? Remember, the perfect heart is what David was praying that Solomon would get. It says it throughout the Psalms. He's looking for that perfect heart. Okay, are we going to be perfect? Was Jehoshaphat perfect? No. He angered God a little bit with his going out and helping the heathen. Okay, but he comes back and he gets this revival going. And what cause soever shall come to you of your brethren, and dwell in their cities between blood and blood, between law and commandments, statutes and judgments, ye shall warn them. Ye shall warn them, they trespass not against Jehovah, so that wrath come upon you, and so that your brethren do this, and ye shall not trespass. Okay, this is, okay, hey Sid, what I'm discussing, this is, every day I read a section of the Bible, and Blue Letter Bible app puts it out. And the section of the Bible I'm in today is, and it's the whole Bible in a year, but chronologically. Okay, we're in Second Chronicles, and I'm at Second Chronicles 19, verse 10. And behold, so that they don't trespass. Okay, what is that? What is that? That's Philadelphia, guys. That's brotherly love. Okay, that is being your brother's keeper. Okay, it was spoken of all the way back to Cain and Abel. Okay, God tells him, "Hey, where's your brother?" "I'm not my brother's keeper." Oh, wrong answer, man. He says, if you're not doing well, sin will be at your door. Satan will be at your door. Okay, so he's given the instruction to the judges to go out and judge righteously. Let's check this out. Okay, and well, let me get to the end of this chapter and we'll check it out. And behold, Amariah, the chief priest, is over you in all matters of Jehovah. So he's given him a boss. Okay, this guy's going to be over you in all matters of Jehovah, and Zebediah the son of Ishmael, ruler of the house of Judah, for all the king's matters. Also the Levites shall be officers before you. Deal courageously, and Jehovah shall be with the good. Okay, now let's go back and let's see where biblically Yeshua is talking about brotherly love and loving thy neighbor as thyself. Okay, I'm going to start in Leviticus 19, verse 15. Ye shall do no unrighteousness in judgment. Thou shalt not respect the person of the poor, nor honor the person of the mighty, but in righteousness you shall judge thy neighbor. Okay, now what did he say in the beginning of this? Okay, found in the heart Jehoshaphat dwelt, cities judges with you. Now, fear of the Lord be upon you, and he do it, for there is no iniquity in the Lord our God, and no respect of persons. That's Chronicles 19, verse 7. Okay, so he's getting that straight out of Leviticus 19, verse 15. You shall do no unrighteousness in judgment, no respecter of persons. Okay, if we go all the way to James 2, he says the same thing. He calls it the royal law. Okay, now, verse 16. Thou shalt not go up and down as a talebearer among thy people, neither shalt thou stand against thy blood of thy neighbor. I am Jehovah. Verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor and not suffer sin upon him. Okay, so you hate your brother if you don't rebuke his sin. Okay, then it says, thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. Okay, so if people are doing this, don't bear a grudge against them. Okay, but thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself. I am Jehovah. Okay, in Matthew 22, that's it, guys. All right, Matthew 22, where he gives the two great commandments in the law, and he's talking to a lawyer. So he quotes Deuteronomy 6, which says you got to obey the commandments. That's loving God with all your heart, all your mind, all your soul, and you teach your children diligently. Okay, that's loving God with all your heart. And then if you don't obey the commandments, you can't rebuke your neighbor of sin, because then you'd be a hypocrite. Okay, so come full circle there, folks. All right, so there is 2 Chronicles 19, okay, where they're setting up the judges. It's jamming, isn't it? Okay, now we got chapter 20. And it came to pass after this, also the children of Moab and the children of Ammon with other, besides the Ammonites, came against Jehoshaphat to battle. Then there came some that told Jehoshaphat, saying, there cometh a great multitude against thee from beyond the side of Syria. And behold, they be in Hazron Tamar, which is En Gedi. And Jehoshaphat feared and set himself to seek Jehovah and proclaimed a fast through all of Judah. So these guys are set up, and they're set up down in kind of the southern part of En Gedi, I think, is in the southern part of the Dead Sea. So if you go visit the Dead Sea, you're going to go stay in En Gedi. And Jehoshaphat feared and set himself to seek Jehovah and proclaimed a fast throughout all Judah. And Judah gathered themselves together to ask for help of Jehovah. Even out of all the cities of Judah they came to seek Jehovah. And Jehoshaphat stood in the congregation of Jerusalem and the house of Jehovah and before the new court and said, O Jehovah, God of our fathers, art not thou God in heaven? Rulest not thou over all the kingdoms of heaven, and thine hand is there not power and might, so that none be to withstand thee? Art thou not our God, who drivest out the inhabitants of this land before thy people Israel, and gave it to the seed of Abraham and thy friend forever? Forever. Okay, here we go. We got a little promise to Abraham. Okay, if people are putting forth the gospel and they're not including the promise to Abraham, then they're not putting forth a complete gospel, folks. Okay? God sends his son to remind us of this promise. That's what it says in Luke 1, right in the New Testament. Luke 1, verse 72 and 73. He's came here to remind us of this is the covenant of promise. Straight out of Ephesians 12, guys. And they dwelt therein and have built a sanctuary therein for thy name, saying, if when evil cometh upon as the sword of judgment, or pestilence or famine, we stand before this house in thy presence, for thy name is in thy house, and cry in our affliction, thou wilt then hear our and help. Okay? He's remembering the promise. He's reminding him of the promise. Okay? He's crawling out to God for help. Okay, what was the problem just a few kings ago? They went to the Syrians for help. Now these Syrians are coming and attacking them. Now behold, the children of Ammon and Moab and Mount Seir, whom wouldest now let Israel invade when they came out of the land of Egypt, but then they turned from them and destroyed them not. Behold, I say, how they reward us to come to cast us out of thy possession, which thou hast given us to inherit. O our God, wilt thou not judge them? For we have no might against this great company that cometh against us, neither know what we do, but our eyes are upon thee. And all Judah stood before Jehovah with their little ones, and their wives and their children. And then upon Jezreel, the son of Isaiah, and the son of Jael, and the son of Matthiah, a Levite, and the sons of Aphath, and the spirit of Jehovah in the midst of the congregation. And he said, hearken ye, all Judah, and ye inhabitants of Jerusalem, thou, King Jehoshaphat, and thus said Jehovah unto you, be not afraid, nor dismayed, by the reason of this great multitude, for the battle is not yours, but God's. Tomorrow ye go down against them, and behold, they come up the cliff of Ziz, and they shall find them at the end of the brook, before the wilderness of Jeru. Ye shall not need to fight this battle. Set yourselves and stand still. And see the Yeshua of Jehovah is with you. See the salvation of Jehovah is with you. O Judah and Jerusalem, fear not, nor be dismayed. Tomorrow go out against them, for Jehovah will be with you. And Jehoshaphat bowed his head, his face to the ground, and all Judah and the inhabitants fell down before Jehovah, worshiping Jehovah. And the Levites and the children of the Kohathites and the children of the Korathites stood up to praise Jehovah, God of Israel, with a loud voice on high. And they rose early in the morning, and they went forth into the wilderness of Tekoa. And they went forth, and Jehoshaphat stood and said, hear me, O Judah, and ye inhabitants of Jerusalem, believe in Jehovah your God, so ye shall be established. Believe his prophets, so ye shall prosper. Paul says in 1 Corinthians 14, verse 32, the prophets are subject to the prophets. So if you're being taught something that doesn't check out with the prophets in this book, now you have to understand and read the prophets to know what they say. If it don't check out, it's junk. That's why Paul could go around what we call Turkey today with the Berean. He had a Berean hanging out with him. He was one of Paul's disciples was a Berean. If Paul would have been speaking against any of this, heck, they might have stoned him. Oh. believe the prophets, ye shall prosper. And when he had consulted with the people, he appointed the singers unto Jehovah, and that they should praise the beauty and holiness as they went out before the army, and to say, praise Jehovah, for his mercy endureth forever. For his mercy endureth forever. What's that, Psalm 136 or Psalm 36? It's all over the Psalms. His mercy endureth forever. His mercy, what's his mercy? He'll have mercy on those that keep his commandments. it's like straight out of It's straight out of Exodus or Deuteronomy 5. And when they began, he'd talk about Deuteronomy 7 is his mercy. Deuteronomy 7, 9, 10, 11. And when they began to sing the praise to Jehovah and ambushments and against the children of Ammon, Moab, Mount Seir, which were come against Judah, and they were smitten. For the children of Ammon, the Moab, stood against the inhabitants of Mount Seir, utterly to slay and destroy them. And when they had made an end of the inhabitants of Seir, every one helped to destroy another. And when Judah came towards the watchtower in the wilderness, and they looked unto the multitude, and behold, there were dead bodies fallen to the earth, none escaped. And when Jehoshaphat and his people came to take away the spoil of them, they found among them in abundance both riches with the dead bodies, and precious jewels which they stripped off for themselves, more than they could carry away. And they were 3 days in gathering the spoil, and it was so much. And on the 4th day he assembled themselves in the valley of Barak. And therefore they blessed Jehovah, and therefore they named the place was called the valley of Barak unto this day. And they returned every man of Judah and Jerusalem, and Jehoshaphat in the forefront of them, to go to Jerusalem with joy. And Jehovah had made them to rejoice over their enemies. And it came to Jerusalem with psalteries and harps and trumpets into the house of Jehovah. And the fear of God was on all kingdoms of those countries when they heard that Jehovah fought against the enemies of Israel. So the realm of Jehoshaphat was quiet. What's this? Because they were fulfilling the covenant of peace. It was quiet, for God gave him rest round about. Praise Yah. And Jehoshaphat reigned over Judah. He was 30 and 5 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 20 and 5 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Azubah, and the daughter of Shiliah. And he walked in the way of Asa his father, and departed not from it, doing that which was right in the sight of Jehovah. Howbeit the high places were not taken away. Whoops. Here's the little mistake. Here's that little leaven they leave. The high places were not taken away, as for yet the people had not prepared their hearts unto God their Father. Imagine that. Over and over again. Even when things are going good, especially when things are going good. It's especially when things are going good. Spiritual adultery. Learn not the way of the heathen. Okay? People love these pagan practices. They absolutely adore them. Okay? And our hearts that go after those pagan practices are deceitfully wicked. I mean, that's in Jeremiah. I just read it the other day. It's like Jeremiah where he talks about the heart being deceitfully wicked or something. Yeah, man. Now, the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat in the first and the last hold, they written in the book of Jehu, the son of Hanani, who is mentioned in the book of Kings of Israel. And after this did Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, join himself with Azariah, the king of Israel, who did very wickedly. Okay, he joined himself with the wicked king in Israel. Okay, the wicked king of the northern kingdoms. And he joined himself to make ships to go to Tarshish. And they made the ships in Ebon-Gezer. And Eleazar, the son of Donavah, Merash, the prophet, prophesied against Jehoshaphat, saying, because thou hast joined thyself with Azariah, and the Lord hath broken thy works, and thy ships were broken, and that they were not able to go to Tarshish. Now, Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David, and Joram his son reigned in his stead. He and his brethren, the son of Jehoshaphat, Azariah, Jehiel, Zechariah, Azariah, Michael, and Shephatiah, were all the sons of Jehoshaphat, king of Israel, and their fathers gave them great gifts of silver and gold, of the precious things which the fenced cities in Judah. But the kingdom he gave to Jeroboam, because he was firstborn. Now Jeroboam was risen up to the kingdom of his fathers. He strengthened himself and slew all his brethren with the sword, and did devise also the prince of Israel. Joram was 32 years old when he began to reign, and he reigned 8 years in Jerusalem. And he walked in the way of the kings of Israel. Okay. Usually, like, these kings do good, okay, and God smiles on their kingdom. They leave that little bit of leaven where he didn't take away the high places, and then it's unto the sons. Okay, check this out. Check this out. Let me put a little bookmark here so I don't lose my spot. Okay, it's the son that goes sideways. I'll just read it out of Deuteronomy 5. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them, for I am Jehovah God, a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me. So, the fathers leave that little bit of leaven. Okay, their children go and start worshiping other gods. Okay, and if he's doing he's doing the sins of Israel, which is the northern kingdom, and he shows mercy unto the thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Okay, this is straight from the Ten Commandments, folks. He visits the iniquity unto the children. It's over and over again. I mean, it's just flying off the page to me. Howbeit, Jehovah, so that's why it's so important. Okay, here, I'm going to talk to some fathers right now. If you happen to see this video and you're the head of your household, you better freaking act like it. You better act like the head of your household. Okay, and spiritually. Okay, in love. Not like a jerk. Okay? Biblical love. Keep people on the straight and narrow. Here's the deal. It's visited upon the children, guys. Okay? The father is the covering for that household. Okay? And a good mother can cover the father. You know, but those parents, so important, guys. Howbeit, Jehovah would not destroy the house of David because of the covenant that he had made with David. And as he promised to give light to him and to his sons forever. And in the days the Edomites revolted under the dominion of Judah and made themselves a king. And Jeroboam went forth with his princes and all his chariots to him, and he rose by night and smote the Edomites, which compassed him in, and the captains of the chariots. So the Edomites revolted from under the hand of Judah unto this day. The same day did Libnah revolt from under his hand, because he had forsaken Jehovah, God of his fathers. So, his dad has peace. Why? Because he seeked God. This guy goes and does unto the kings of Israel, and he ends up sideways. Up in Israel, they were doing pagan sacrifices, and it was just wicked. Okay? Moreover, he made high places in the mountains of Judah, caused the inhabitants of Jerusalem to commit fornication, and compelled Judah thereto. Okay. It is spiritual adultery to worship other gods. And God hates it. He hates idolatry. And it came a writing with them that Elijah the prophet, saying, Thus saith Jehovah God of David of thy fathers, because thou hast not walked in the ways of Jehoshaphat thy father, nor in the ways of Asa king of Judah, but thou hast walked in the way of the kings of Israel, and hast made Judah, the inhabitants of Jerusalem, go a whoring like the whoredoms of the house of Ahab. There it is, guys, the whorings of the house of Ahab. And also hast slain the brethren of thy father's house, which were better than thyself. Behold, with a great plague, Jehovah will smite thy people and the children and thy wives and all thy gods. And thou shalt have great sickness and by disease and bowels, and until thy bowels fall out by reasons of the sickness, day by day. Moreover, Jehovah stirred up against Joram the spirit of the Philistines and the Arabians that were near the Ethiopians. And they came into Judah and brake into it and carried away all the substance that was found in the king's house and his sons and his wives. So there was never a son left to save him, save Jehoaz, the youngest of his sons. And after all this, Yahweh smote him in his bowels with an incurable disease. And it came to pass that in the process of time, after the end of 2 years, his bowels fell out by reason of sickness. So he died of sore disease. And his people made no burning for him, like the burning of his fathers. 32 years old was he when he begat to reign, and reigned in Jerusalem 8 years, and departed without being desired. Howbeit they buried him in the city of David, but not in the sepulchre of the kings. He didn't even get buried with his fathers. Chapter 22. And the inhabitants of Jerusalem made Ahaziah, the son of the king, in the steed and the band of men that came with the Arabians to camp, and slain all the eldest. So Ahaziah, the son of Jeroam, and the king of Judah reigned. 42 years old was Ahaziah when he began to reign, and he reigned 1 year in Jerusalem. His mother was also Athaniah, the daughter of Omari. Okay, Omari. He was pretty important back then. Okay, he also walked in the ways in the house of Ahab. Not good. Okay, he only reigned 1 year. Okay, you'll see the better kings have a longer reign. These one and outs, he's bad. Okay, for his mother was a counselor to do wickedly. Don't listen to that Jezebel. Therefore, he did evil in the sight of Jehovah, like the house of Ahab, for they were his counselors after the death of his father, to his destruction. Oh, man. Okay. If your counselors are not speaking what the prophets speak, what they're putting forth is junk. All right, there you go. And he walked also after their counselor, and he went with Jehoram, the son of Ahab, king of Israel, to war against Jahaziel, king of Syria, at Ramoth Gilead. And the Syrians smote Joram, and he returned to be healed in Jezreel because of the wounds which were given him at Ramah. He fought with Hazael, king of Syria, and Azariah, the son of Jeroam, the king of Judah, went down to see Joram, the son of Ahab, at Jezreel because he was sick. And the destruction of Ahaziah was of God by coming to Joram. For when he was come, he went out with Joram against Jehu, the son of Nishi, who Jehovah had anointed to cut off the house of Ahab. And it came to pass that when Jehu was executing judgment upon the house of Ahab, and found the princes of Judah and the sons of the brethren of Ahaziah, that he ministered to Ahaziah and slew them. He sought Ahaziah, and they caught him, for he was hid in Samaria. And he brought him to Jehu. And when they had slain him, they buried him, because he is the son of Jehoshaphat, who sought Jehovah with all his heart. So the house of Ahaziah had no power to keep still the kingdom. When Athaliah, the mother of Ahaziah, the mother of Ahaziah, saw her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all her seed royal of the house of Judah. But Jehoshabeth, the daughter of the king, took Joash, son of Ahaziah, and stole him from among the king's sons that were slain, and put him and his nurse in a bedchamber. So Jehoshabeth, the daughter of King Joram, the wife of Jediah the priest, for she was his sister, Ahaziah, hid him from Athaliah, so that she slew him not. And he was with them hid in the house of God 6 years. And Athaliah reigned over the land. And in the 7th year, so so she is running the show now. Okay. And in the 20th and in the 7th year, Jehoiada strengthened himself and took the captains, hundreds, Azariah the son of Jeroham, Ishmael the son of Johanathan, and Azariah the son of Obed, and Mesilah the son of Adiana, and Elishaphat the son of Zichri, into covenant with him. And they went about Judah and gathered the Levites out of all the city of Judah and the chief of the fathers of Israel. And they came to Jerusalem, and all the congregation made a covenant with the king of the house of God, and said unto them, Behold, the king's son shall reign as Jehovah hath said, the sons of David. This is the thing that ye shall do. A third part of you entering on the Sabbath of the priests and the Levites shall porters of the doors, and a third part shall be at the king's house, and a third part at the gate of the foundation of all people shall be at the courts of the house of Jehovah. Let none come into the house of Jehovah save the priests, and they, the ministers of the Levites, they shall go in, for they are holy, but all the people shall keep watch of Jehovah. And the Levites shall compass the king round about, every man with his weapons in hand. Whoever else come into the house shall be put to death, but ye with the king shall cometh in, and when he goeth out. So the Levites and all Judah did according to all things that Jehoiada the priest had commanded, and took every man his men that were able to come in on the Sabbath with them, that were to go out on the Sabbath, for Jehoiada the priest dismissed not the courses. Moreover, Jehoiada priest delivered to the captains hundreds of spears and bucklers and shields that had been King David's, which were in the house of God. And he set all the people, every man having his weapon in his hand, from his right side of the temple to the left side of the temple, along the altar of the temple by the king round about. So they brought out all the king's son, and put upon him the crown, and gave him the testimony, and made him king. And Jehoiada and the sons anointed him, and said, God save the king. Now, when Athaliah heard the noise of the people running and praising the king, she came the people to the house of Jehovah. And she looked, and behold, the king stood at his pillar, and entering in, and the princes and the trumpets and the king and the people of the land rejoiced, and the sound with trumpets, also the singers with instruments of music, and such taught to sing praise. And Athaliah rent her clothes and said, Treason, treason. Then Jehoiada the prince brought out the captains of hundreds that were set over the host, and said to them, Have her forth of the ranges, and who followeth her, let him be slain with the sword. For the priest said, Slay her not in the house of Jehovah. So they laid hands on her when she come to the entering of the horse gate by the king's house, and they slew her there. Jehoiada made the covenant between him and between all the people, and between the king, that they should be Jehovah's people. Then all the people went to the house of Baal, and brake it down, and brake his altars, and the images in the pieces, and slew Matan, the priest of Baal, before the altars. And Jehoiada appointed the officers of the house of Jehovah by the hand of the priests and the Levites, whom David had distributed in the house of Jehovah, to offer burnt offerings of Jehovah, as it is written in the law of Moses, with rejoicing and with singing. It was ordained by David. And he set the porters at the gates of the house. He set the porters at the gates. That's Mark 13 or Matthew 24. What he says to one, he says to all, watch. He sets the porters at the gate of the house of Jehovah, that none which was unclean in anything should enter in. He sets the watchmen at the gate, and he took the captains of the hundreds and the nobles and the governors of the people and all the people of the land, and brought them down to the king from the house of Jehovah. And they came through the high gate into the king's house, and set the king upon the throne of the kingdom. And all the people of the land rejoiced, yea! And the city was quiet after that. And the city was quiet after that. After they had slain Athaliah with the sword. Praise Yah. Okay, they have to clean up the land, folks. They got to go take out that